Breaking news from Casey Johnson. Lonzo Ball is staying as a Bull for now, signing a 2-year, 20 million contract extension with the Bulls. What does it mean? We're going to talk about it right after this.
Get the lowdown on one of the most iconic basketball teams in the world. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
What is going on, Bulls Nation? So, as we know, if you've been following the Chicago Bulls for a while, Lonzo Ball has come a long way from his injury. Didn't play for something like 900 days or something like that. I know he was gone a lot from the Bulls, maybe even 1,000 days. But since he came back, who would have thought that he could still play basketball, and not even just play basketball, but play it in a high level and still makes an impact on the court? The Bulls have a surplus of guards, so it just makes sense that this year we thought this was the year that Lonzo is finally going to be either be bought out or be traded for, maybe a couple of second rounders. We know that he's not going to fetch a first rounder due to his, injury history and all that stuff. But he is still a very productive player, a very sought after players who can knock down the threes, facilitate, and defend is highly coveted in this league. And he can still do that, maybe not in the same level as he was back in 2022, but he is still capable of, affecting the games in a positive way. Anytime that he's within the Bulls lineup, the Bulls are plus 10. So that just shows you the value of Lonzo Ball. I would say especially for a contending team. Now the Bulls just decided to extend him, which I am not mad about. The contract is pretty reasonable. And to be quite honest, if he could just stay the way he is right now, and what I mean by that is, limited minutes, not playing back to back, I think that's a pretty good value. And that could be potentially a trade chip down the line for the Bulls. If you can package him perhaps with, maybe Vooch this offseason. Now you're dealing with 30 million contract. Could you trade that for maybe something like Julius Randle and some picks? I don't know, but you could. You have flexibility because it's easier to trade a contract for $10 million. So that would be a nice boost for the Bulls. I hope if they decide to keep him, which I also wouldn't be mad if they did, that there is some sort of an injury protection to that contract, that if something happens to him, that the contract is not guaranteed. I do hope they put in that protection in place, because that would be even more attractive to other teams who's planning to trade for Lonzo perhaps down the line. He's also more attractive if he does have an extension with. This is one thing that I would give to AK. They are good in pretty much negotiating a contract. They gave Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu this pretty good deal. Now the one with Zach is totally different. It's a different scenario as well. There was no second apron and all that stuff. They're terrible at trades, but re-signing, players, I would give them, even with Patrick Williams at the time, 18 million. I mean, it's still not a done deal because he's showing flashes right now without Zach, but that's a pretty decent deal in my opinion. Not a bargain per se, but this Lonzo Ball contract could be very well be a bargain if he just maintain his health. For the next 2 years, 10 million a year, that is 4 million more than Javon Carter. Now, the problem is not solved because the Bulls still have a surplus of guards. Does this affect now Josh Giddey moving forward? What is the plan for Josh Giddey? Is Kobe going to get traded? Is Ayo going to get traded? If it was just Lonzo, Josh, Kobe, and Ayo, I get that, but right now we got Trey Jones, who's ideally you want to trade him. We just got rid of Chris Duarte. Zach is gone. But I still feel like that's way too many guards in our rotation. And I'm interested now to see if we are really keeping Lonzo. What does it mean for the future contract of Josh Giddey? Because they feel like they are the same player. It's just Lonzo is better defensively. Josh is a better rebounding guard. Both have their pros and cons. If you make me choose, if I'm a contending team, I'd like Lonzo better because of his defense. But we're not. We are a rebuilding team. So it'll be fascinating to see what happens specifically with Josh Giddey. Are we just going to test the market for him? Are we not going to offer him an extension? I think that's the smart way to go, because you don't want to pay $20 million now to Josh Giddey if you're paying Lonzo 10. It just doesn't make sense, because it'll be harder to trade Giddey down the line if you want to go that path. But let me know in the comments down below, how do you feel about this extension? What do you think is going to happen to Josh Giddey? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.